Hello everyone and welcome. Uh, just something off the topic for now. And I saw fewer and fewer people following me in this series of lectures. Well, I can understand it because it's so boring or too deep, whatever it is. I know from the C readers we used to have five people, the core group, and they are following me all the time. And I don't know the rest, but I don't expect a lot of people can come here to understand this. And it reminds me the story of Plato. Once he lectured to the end and turn around, see only one person there sitting, and everybody else has left. And he asked, "What's your name, young man?" And the person said, "Aristotle." So you know the rest of the story. Well, it's really something if you think about that. Why do I come to this? Why do I take this seriously? I have been for 25 years as an IT programmer, software engineer, making as much as six numbers, six figures. Why come to this? And also near the retirement age. And it must be a reason for this. In Chinese saying, 来者不善，善者不来. Roughly in English, if you only want to do good, you probably won't come. Or maybe as a philanthropist. No, you are a devil when you come. You want to devour something. Okay? So it's a serious stuff. Alright, speaking of the desires, according to Chinese saint saying, saint, like Confucius, what is a man? He defines it as food and sex. That's a man, right? Well, to me it's not that, it's a pig. As a man, in Greek philosopher's term, you have to think, to re-examine life. Alright? The third desire to be a man is the thinking. You have the need from your left and right brain. That's the desire most. If you haven't realized this, you probably live in vain for your life. Trust me. But this desire is so big and so serious because it's from the core of your mind inside yourself, right? We know the energy, let's say the coal, the oil, compared with nuclear things, atom bombs, it's from the inside. You split the atoms, so energy is bigger. Same thing here. Food and eat, food and sex are superficial. It's for your bodily needs. But this one, the desire of thinking to know, is much more greater. Okay? When you unleash it, wow, you just cannot live without it. That's a fact. Okay, you can try yourself. Alright, so the philosophy, I have been talking about the philosophy all the time. What is the essence of philosophy? I want to say a few words. I think basically when I think about that, it's two things you have to bear in your mind, whatever definition you have. Number one is the spirit, the inquisitive spirit. You always want to pursue the truth. That's number one. Number two, well, without number one, with only number one, how about the Buddhist? How about Hinduism? How about the Chinese Xuanxue? They think about a lot of things. They are searching the truth. If you ask them, they'll say that. Maybe they don't know the word truth. But they say, well, we are pursuing something. So here we come, number two. You have to have a methodology. All right? That is fundamentally, it's logic, it's reasoning, it's rationale. You have to have these two. Inquisitive spirit first, methodology second. Without these two, it cannot be called philosophy. And also, the consequence of philosophy is to have something born as a result, as a fruits. We know in the 17th century of Descartes, science was born, right? Since Newton, the physics has come to its fruition, matured from Aristotle's time. Aristotle's physics cannot be called exactly science in today's definition. It's similar as Chinese, the doctors, the ancient doctors taking herbal medicine and taste it and try to cure disease for people. Similar in nature. It's not science. Science must start with generalization, with mathematics applied to it, so it becomes general. A lot of people don't understand this. When I was a graduate student, even in China, my professor told me this. And it stuck with me ever since. Real science started from Galileo, when he used mathematics to apply to the little ball rolling off the frictionless plane, or maybe with some friction, of course. And that's the beginning of science, all right? You cannot define science in any other way. Of course, the Germans call the philosophy, the Inquisition spirit is science too, as in Hegel, right? Well, that's another definition. But according to the English-speaking people, that the definition of science is natural science. It's another thing, okay? And speaking of the audience, I also invited my previous philosophy teachers, two professors from Miami University, because I need some reference from them. But they are my teachers, so I learned a lot from them. So I invited them too. I hope they will come. They will come, and that's. For this philosophy thing, another thing I want to say is, I mentioned this before. It's like a tea in Chinese, or like a coffee in the Western world. You know, only people who really feel the essence, well, I really don't have any other good term to say about the coffee. They all know this is good coffee. It's like Chinese saying, this is good tea. If you don't have this experience, you really cannot say that. Well, coffee to me almost always plain. I always go to anywhere like McDonald's or some local shops say plain without sugar. That's it. But for those people who really can appreciate coffee, they know what a good coffee is. It's the same thing with philosophy. If you feel this is philosophy, real philosophy, you will come here. If you don't feel so, you probably won't. Because it doesn't mean anything to you. Alright? I want to stress this part. In my graph, and I said that, look at this one. The left brain, right brain thing. Your left brain always try to get the logical chain forward, like a propeller thing. Propeller needs something to go. That's a syntax. Think about that. The propeller is a syntax. It goes forward like this. Blah, 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 goes forward. Okay? But it doesn't know the meaning. It constantly stops. It has a problem. So where to get the semantics from the right side? Your right brain. Okay? That's a unity of everything. Or it's called consciousness. Is the creative part. It controls the whole picture. It gives the meaning, the semantics to syntax. Okay? So think about that. If you are good in this, either of them, one half of your atmosphere, you will reach the end. And you will follow this series here and to chase the end. That's a function of your brain. You just cannot stay or escape from this. This is sort of a necessity, or you have to. It's not that you want it. No, your brain wants it. Alright? Let me say that way. Okay, the next thing I'm thinking about it is the idea of discussing philosophy. You know, in the West, for the Christian countries, they have a golden age. That's in Greek time, and in the many philosophers started from Greeks. Later, Romans inherited some, but basically Roman people are practical people. They developed the politics, the ideas of how to govern, how to make cities, build bridge, but they are very practical people. They are the application of Greek philosophers' ideas. Till the Germans philosophers come up, like Kant, Hegel, and Schopenhauer, later Heidegger, things like that. But before Kant, Emil Kant, is there any philosopher in Germany? There is no even Germany at that time. We know it's and the Germany part of it's called Prussia was subject to France, subject to Napoleon, right? They admire Napoleon very much, like Hegel or somebody, right? At that time, it's like a third country, you know. So what's the goal of talking this, and what are you aiming at? What I'm aiming at is the golden age in the Christian countries is in the Greek time, and some part of it from Germany. And in Muslim countries, it's from 9th century to 12th century, the golden age. At that time, everybody can talk about free things. All the scholars in the world come to the Middle East to talk about that, to print everything, to exchange knowledge. And who is missing in this picture? The Orientals, the Indians and the Chinese. Well, I'm only concerned about the Chinese part. We actually don't even have a democracy yet, so there's a lot of problem. But people, we are free in the West, right? The intellectuals, the Chinese intellectuals are a lot of people. We are in the West now. We can freely discuss ideas, but why is it so hard? Because there's something missing. So, without a golden age of Chinese intellectuals, there is no way China can fly. Alright? You are just economic animals, like what Japan used to be. Actually, Japan had some philosophy. It's really good. I recently looked at it. I think we should learn. But my point is, you won't play a big role, like leading the civilization forward. No way. No golden age, no free exchange of ideas, no all over the world scholars come to discuss, to free exchange ideas, to be rational. Alright? There's no China's flying or playing the leading role. That's for sure. Alright? That's my point. Okay, now I come to the part of the system, Instancology and absolutology. Well, a few vocabularies I want to repeat and also make it clear. First, I feel that's a little bit confusing for some people. They will ask, and look at this one. Look at the corner of the right or to your left. Instancology, absolutology, matter ontology. So I call it metaontology. Oh, I dropped the A, the vowel sound A. Okay. I made the term instancology because the word we have, instantology, having a different meaning. So I don't like that connotation, the meaning, the definition. So I want to change it. As simple as that. Absolutology is the study of the absolute. It's simple. Right? Every English speaker can easily understand that. How about ontology? Ontology is part of philosophy, right? But ontology means the study of being or existence of something. But the absolutology is none about it. It's none of it. So what should we address it? I say matter ontology or metaontology, whatever you call it. Metaontology. Yeah, that's a matter ontology. Metaontology. I think that's the word. Otherwise, you cannot describe it. And right now, for the best explanation I have is what is the absolute? Only can reply with one word: is it's not relative. That's the only word I can think about. You cannot simply say anything else if you understand what the absolute I mean. Okay? So think about that, and we can talk more about that. Okay, I want to come to this graph. Remember this one? This is in the book 1. All right. There is something I want to stress here. Remember I said from a 1. Who is 1? In pre-Socratic time, philosophers talk about 1, right? What is 1? That origin of the world. people talk about that. Iliac philosophers talk about one, like Zeno or somebody. I remember they talk about one, right? And Parmenides talk about thoughts, being, and other philosophers talk about somebody mentioned one, two. Okay, when you come to Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, they also think one. A person or I as one. Alright? So I'm saying relative equals something, equals one. Only one. Okay? World to I to relative. That's a one. How things started with one. That is the answer. Okay? Then eventually to the relative as a whole part, it's a one, two. Okay? When something it will come up, it appears to be nothing. It first shows itself as nothing. Nothing, remember, is a part of the property of something, not the other way around. And the Sartre doesn't understand this. He says nothing is fundamental. Wrong. Hegel is right. Nothing is a part of something or being, if you like. But here it goes on. Nothing exists first in potential being, or potentiality, I call it. I call it prior being. First, it is hidden. Alright? Use Heidegger's term. Hidden. You have to expose it. Before you expose it, before it emerges, it's not being yet. It's a potentiality. Okay? But we know something will come up. It appears to be nothing. Right? Nothing means something behind. See the logic here? So here I summarize it as world means from world we can deduct prior being exists, because then deduct the absolute is there. Alright? Actually, when we come to the absolute part, you really can say nothing. Well, you cannot even say nothing. You have to say it's not a relative. Okay, here's the important part. You only can know relative after you know the absolute. Why there's no this word in English dictionary? Absolutology. Why? Because people always use absolute as adjective, as adverb. Absolute nature in Schelling, absolute concept in Hegel, absolute being in Heidegger. There is no this concept of absolute itself. Okay? Because you can never know absolute until you figure out everything is relative. The idea of relative comes from Albert Einstein. He summarized it in physics, in nature, in science. But it has a profound philosophical meaning. Alright? So I call it the absolute, the relative is everything of our world. It's a something, it's a one. That's a target of philosophy. Philosophy is to talk about something, talk about a one. Ontology is to talk about existence. Okay? That's the idea. But absolutology or matter ontology is not about something. It's The only definition for it is matter ontology is not of the relative. Well, that's absolute, same thing. But we have to use a negation to define things because it's the top level of categories. That's a problem. Okay? So, well, we don't have much time to go into details of the last topic we left. So eventually, I want to say this. We come to the two parts in your brain. The left part, the right part. Okay? That's the two minor absolutes. Remember this. The logical part is the left brain, like a propeller going forward in your mind. Okay? The syntax must go forward. Okay? But the definition, the meaning, the semantics provided from the right brain, the right hemisphere. It gave the interpretation. The two interchangeably working like 0 and 1 in assembly language of software, of computer, if you know what I mean. That's the case, all right? That's a function of your brain, the inner desire, the desire to know why, to want to have a definition, the meaning, the value, the axiomatic thing about your life. All right, we don't have much time today. Maybe next time I'll pick up whatever left from previous one. All right, thank you everybody. See you next time. Bye.